Okay, here we are in the course, and we are actually going to build this particular link right now. But what we're going to do is we're going to our first DA assignment right here, and I'm going to work that. So I click on this, and up pops this page, and it says, the attached R Markdown template is your starting point. Put this into RStudio and supplied the asked for questions that appeared. Finally, knit this document to HTML and submit it back to Moodle. And see what's going to come down when I click this is one file. But we want that file to be put into an RStudio project. So at this point, what we want to do is fire up RStudio and create the RStudio project that we're going to put that file in. Now we have opened up the file manager, looking onto our USB stick, which is in drive letter F, and we're going to start up RStudio by clicking the RStudio batch file right here. Okay, RStudio is now starting up. When it starts up, you can see it puts us, since we've set it up to have the default working directory being the project folders, there's our project folder directory. We're not, however, in a project. And so now that's what we're going to do. We're going to tell it to make up a new project file, new project, and we want it to start in a new directory. It's going to be an empty project, and it's going to be a subfolder of, let us make this right, subfolder of our project folders directory. Yes. And we want it to have be a Git repository. So we're going to click this box, and we're going to call it knit yourself. Underscore yourself. Create the project. Right, so now we have a folder called Knit Yourself. It's got nothing in it yet, but that's going to be the target where we're going to drop off these things that are going to come in our assignment. So let's navigate back to our assignment. And it says, the attached Markdown template is your starting point. So what we want to do is load this down and make sure that it gets in that project folder directory that we just created. I'm going to click this, and here it is downloaded. So now let's go find this thing. I'm going to right click my mouse and tell it to show me where it is in the folder. It says, okay, it's right there. And I want to get that thing installed in the folder that I just built. So here we're going to try some tricks here. I'm going to see if I can just copy this whole thing. So I'm going to right click and copy. And then I have to move to the folder that it needs to be in. So I come over here to my stick, and I click on that. And I click on my project folders, and there is the Knit Yourself folder that I want to put it in. So I click on that. And now I'm in this area, and I'm going to right-click and paste. Okay? So that brings that markdown file back into the folder in our studio. So that's that movement. Now let's go back to our studio picture. And there it is right there. Let me do a little file management on this thing. I just want it to be called DA About You and not have that 3 in there. So let me click this, rename, and I'm going to name it just DA About You. Okay. And now we have it renamed. The next step is actually to load it into R and do what it says. We accomplish that by simply clicking it. Notice, in here comes a markdown file that after we edit it and put the material in here will be our assignment. Okay. At this point, we want to invoke the second prong of our keeping track paradigm of work, which is to use the Git configuration control program. So I'm going to click on Git right here. And the first thing I want to do is put under configuration control the markdown file that we're dealing with. So I'll do that by clicking this stage button. And now it's staged. That's halfway into Git, if you will. And at this point, I want to go ahead and commit it as our initial commit. So I click commit. A window pops up that says put in the commit message, which is initial commit, and committing it. All right, that's committed, and now our markdown file is under configuration control. And now we can go back in and start modifying it. So one thing we might want to do is knit it, and that's what we should tell you always. Knit it before you commit anything. Make sure that what you're committing actually works. So let's knit it right now, even though we didn't do that off the bat. What we did save is what we were given. So click knit, and it starts whirring around trying to knit it. Says you need to update something. Go ahead, yes. And so now we wait. Well, it continues to install some package I apparently forgot and carry on with this. So this is R trying to put some package in there, put it in. And now we're waiting. So here's what that produces. Now we're looking at what I have to enter. I better put my name in there and then answer these questions. All right, let's work through that process now. All right, I guess I'll put my name in here. So click there and edit. And date doesn't look right, so let's make it in the right year anyway. Now let's see. What is your preferred name? Well, I'd like my class to call me Dr. K. Okay. And then knowing something about R, I probably ought to put a couple of spaces behind this thing, and maybe a carriage return. Right? Coming down here. What do I think I will major in? Oh, how about teaching modern stats? Do I play a sport? No, I don't. Why are you taking my Math 115? I have to. I must take it for my major. There's a whole number of random, anything from 1 to 30. I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to get a little fancy here. I'm going to put in a little piece of R code that does that and let it pick it up. Let's see, how do I do that? I'm going to do edit. Now I'm going to do code, then sort of chunk. And now I'm going to say sample. And I want it to get the numbers. And spell sample, right? The same thing. LE, and I want to let X be the numbers from 1 to 30. Sample X is the number of 1s and 30s, and I want to pick 1 out. So size equal 1, and see if that works. Let's actually just run this and see if it works. Now, picked out 12, so I think that will work. Okay. Well, let's knit it to actually see that what comes up is reasonable. My name, I'm majoring in teaching modern stats. I don't play any sports. I got to do this for my major, which is teaching modern stats. And I picked the whole number randomly out of there by using a random sampling technique. And the number I picked out this time was 7. Well, how about that? Okay. Now we're at the point of we knitted. It looks good, and Something to note is that the knitted file came out and it's in our project folder. There it is. It's an HTML file. That's the one we're going to turn in. But at this point, what we want to do is update in Git our creation. So we want to stage this by clicking that box. And at this point on, what we usually do is make sure that the difference between what we're going to put in and what's in there right now seems reasonable. So we click this diff box. And let's see, it says, what you did is you deleted those 2 lines. You put those 2 lines in. You put in what name you wanted to be called. You deleted a blank line and put in teaching modern stats. Deleted another blank in and put in the answer nope. And down here you deleted a blank line and you put in that you had to do it because of your major. And then you put in this R block that actually samples randomly from the numbers from 1 to 30, those integers, and picks one out and then displays it. So that's what that does. So this is our first update. We're going to commit it. Sometimes this happens. Usually it's the interface between RStudio and Git. There is a more solid interface, which is a command line. We teach that later in the course. So at this point, I'm just going to close that. Try it again. Well, this is annoying. One more try this way, and then I might have to revert to the other way, which I didn't want to have to show right now, but let's see what happens. Well, darn. Okay. Let's close that. I'll close this. And we'll do it the other way. We'll go to the command window. I'll teach this in a series of workshops. Oops. Go to the command window. Clicking the wrong button a whole bunch of times here. There it is. Go to the command window. And then in here. So here's the command window. I'm going to give the command git status because I think I've already put that in. All right. We'll learn to read this. This says that I have this fix staged. I just haven't got it committed yet. So there's a simple command in git commit -m to tell it here comes the message, and this is the first update. And give this command that way, and go, that works. So we close out of here, and I can go back to the environmental window and then back to Git. If I look at the history window now, you'll see we have 2 commits. One I just did and the initial. So we're good to go. I'm going to close this out. And the last thing we need to show is how to finish this off by putting what we need to into Moodle. So let's go back to the assignment And here we are. Let's see what's going on here. Maybe the assignment can't be done yet. In the process. Now it's time to turn in what we have just done. So let's do that. Let's go back to our option to turn things in. So here we are in this assignment. And let's see, we need to add our submission. Click Add Submission. And now it's asking us to find the submission and drop it in here. So you basically have to open up a window such as this, and we'll move this over here a little bit so we can see things a little bit. Open up the project folders, open up the Knit Yourself one, and here's the HTML document that we want to turn in, and this is how you turn it in. You drag it and drop it. When that's done, you save changes like that, and you've completed the job. If you don't like what you turned in, you can go back and take it out and enter a new one. And my suggestion is, as you're working this, if you want to do that, be early and submit something. If you want to change it, then get back to it later. But don't sit on your hands until the bell rings and you're too late to submit something. Okay, that's it.